Good morning. Another Monday, the 14th of July. Good afternoon and good evening as well to everyone. Um, yeah, happy new all-time high. We've just hit a new all-time high of $123,000. So I guess we should start off with the long to short ratio and see how that's going. So we're still about 66.7% short, 66.8% short. Wow, that's pretty crazy. We kind of stabilized in the 68 to 66% region in short accounts in the market, which is pretty crazy. We've also had a massive short uptake on the last 4 hours, just in general positions in the market as well. So that's also very interesting to see. Everyone's still short. Of course, we know this is more fuel for the upside, but yeah, I mean, what more can we say? We've just been taking all the liquidity to the upside as well. We probably don't really have that much to go. Um, like as soon as that long to short ratio comes back towards like 50%, I think it's going to be the top. Until then, you're just looking to long retest, to be honest. And I don't want to say I'm expecting anything at the moment because we're obviously still heavily short in the market. But if we do come back and see 100, 118, 119, 120k, 119 maybe, I'm going to be a buyer. I'm going to be a longer, especially on altcoins as well. But yeah, in terms of the liquidations, there's really not too much. Like we've cleared most of the important stuff, as you can see. There's a big amount still at 107k, but yeah, we're pretty far away from that at the moment. We'd have to lose like a lot of levels, like we have to lose 118, and then we'll have to lose 115, and then 113, and then one whatever this is, 111, and then you know. So it's nice. We're creating quite a lot of potential support structure on the way up as well. In terms of the order book, I mean, again, there's not really too much to say on this as well. We don't really have anything above us holding us down at the moment. This stuff has literally just been put in the last 30 minutes, so nothing really to say here. The order book's definitely looking a bit thin, and all of these shorts from 120k have all been hit, so that looks like it's been hit. So yeah, that's it. That's it for the data as of right now. We do have the hourly node coming in around 118k. So like I said, if we do come and potentially see 118, 119, I think that's going to potentially be a good area to long, unless the long to short ratio goes heavily in the long's favor by the time we get to that, and then we can talk about potentially having a lower high and then a breakdown. But until then, up only, long and retest. Let's look at alts. Everyone's all happy, fine and dandy, good. I'm going to remember to change the screen as well. So I think everyone just wants to look at altcoins, don't they? I know I do. And then we can potentially find some value for the week ahead. So yeah, let's have a look at maybe the weekly close. So the weekly close has been again another massive one. Yesterday we closed at about 119k. So again, potentially creating some more support structure on the way down if we do come back down. This weekly candle still looking good. We've still got room to run on the weekly time frame. We are potentially making a new high on the retail stablecoin demand now, which is really good to see. This means it's not going to bearishly diverge, which is very nice. But I don't think we're out of the woods yet on this. Maybe we are. Yeah, we have made a new high after that weekly close, so that's really good. That's an invalidation that I really wanted to see, especially from this weekly close that we just had. So really good stuff. It's all looking really good. The weekly bands all curving up. It's just looking really good at the moment. Everyone's short. Just the indicators look fine. Obviously the daily and stuff are obviously super cooked, but you can't until we get some proper breakdown in the price. You can't really go off this alone. So yeah, I mean, Bitcoin. We'll have a look at some of the levels. We've got the daily weekly open coming in again around 119k. That's going to be an interesting level if we do come down and retest that. Excuse me. And yeah, it just looks like we created a nice amount of support, 117 to 119k at the moment. Obviously, 119 is daily weekly open, 118 to 119 is the support zone, and we got the 4-hour low at 117k as well. So we have a support zone already printed on that as well. So nice, really good to see. We're obviously bearishly diverging on the 4 hour, but we've been bearishly diverging all the way on this move up. So yeah, it's just it's looking good, guys. It's looking good. This 4 hour combination band is also coming up to meet the demand zone as well. So yeah, we're still looking up. Again, retail stablecoin demand is potentially bearishly diverging on the 4 hour, but yeah, it just could mean a short-term pullback. Doesn't mean we're gonna have an actual like break of structure, full-on retrace. So yeah, that's Bitcoin. I guess we'll have a look at some of the other weekly charts just because it's Monday, and we haven't really checked the totals, but that daily close was really good, and I'm gonna delete this. Stuber now. This weekly close closed above the weekly all-time high swing, so that's really good. That kind of is confirming a potential breakout as well. Again, we're probably going to bearishly diverge on the weekly time frame unless we get really really high into like the 90s. But yeah, it's looking like this is going to be the last hurrah. Um, but yeah, we've still got potentially. I don't want to put a time frame on it, but we've potentially got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4-ish months, maybe. I don't know, 4-ish months potentially of bullish price action to go at the end of this year, which is pretty exciting to be honest. Obviously, you can't really put time frames on these things because it's just so difficult. But we could potentially, yeah, get a nice end of year. Again, total two, really good weekly candle broke above this level, which was 1.23k, 1.23 trillion, sorry, not k, and potentially the next stop is 1.6 up at this resistance. So yeah, which will be the all-time high resistance for altcoins. They've got a lot of catching up to do, but it does look really good. Obviously, in hindsight, it looks like we did the A86 retrace on the weekly time frame and hit the hidden bull div on the weekly as well. So in hindsight, it looks really good. But yeah, we're just riding the wave right now, boys and girls. If there are any girls in here. Again, kind of the same thing on total three as total two, but yeah. Let's actually just hold on. Yeah, this weekly candle is also potentially arcing up the band as well, which is really nice to see. Yeah, next stop 1.6 trill for the altcoin market. Let's get it. Let's have a look at others as well. Others is basically going to be like micro caps and shitties and stuff like that. Potentially hasn't broken out yet. The weekly candle didn't close above that swing. But yeah, it still looks good, and this is potentially gonna arc up after like Bitcoin and ETH do their run. But yeah, looks good, man. Looks really good. I'm really happy. USDT dominance just kind of crabbing off a cliff. I don't really look at this too much anymore. Neither the DXY, but obviously the DXY is breaking down. It's super super low on the oscillator, but yeah, it just looks good, doesn't it? It just does look really 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 good. Bitcoin Dom. Let's have a look at this weekly close. I'm gonna check the chat just to make sure everything's okay as well. Yes, everything's okay. Um, yeah, we actually had a close below this swing, so I'm not. I think that is probably the daily. Yeah, that's the daily swing. So we closed below that, and this weekly close has actually closed below that as well. So really nice. We're potentially creating some resistance structure to retest on the way on the way up. Potentially, what we want to see now is a rejection from here and then a new low off this to potentially see like a breakdown in altcoins. But yeah, I don't think Bitcoin's done going on its run yet, but it's probably quite close. Again, looks really good. ETH Bitcoin hasn't broken out yet. Definitely hasn't broken out yet. We haven't closed above this swing. We're actually tested it as resistance. I do think the next time we go up, this is probably going to find support and then break through, I think. And then the daily's also flashing a hidden bear, and we've also got the red dot on the oscillator coming on this candle. So I think this is just going to be a pullback, and potentially, yeah, we are going to see a breakout quite soon because that weekly candle was also quite nice. So we've got to wait a little bit more for the ETH move, but I definitely think it is coming, and I want to see a retest somewhere like June. So bang, and maybe a hold there. Even if we don't hold, we potentially got this to hold. We definitely don't want to lose July on ETH Bitcoin. Otherwise, alts are probably going to suffer quite a lot. But the combination band looks like it's getting really tight and is gearing up for a big move. So potentially, I want to see this find support in June and then break through on the next go. But yeah, it can consolidate for a while, and I don't mind as well. While Bitcoin does its thing before the rotation. The rotation is definitely coming, so you're gonna want to get positioned potentially on this pullback. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, we're obviously bear diving, but we haven't seen a breakdown yet. And I guess that's kind of like the general roundup, the general gist. We're still breaking up towards the yearly open on ETH. I think this is gonna hit sooner or later at some point. Even if we do like come down and touch 2.8 again as support somewhere in this swing, I think it's gonna hold. And yeah, we're also creating some support around here, around this weekly open and the new demand zone as well. So it's just looking really good in general, and I hope everyone's pretty happy. So in terms of positions, I don't really need to go through my positions because I think you know them from last week. I've still got most of them open. Um, Pepe potentially looks like it's just double topped in the short term, especially if it breaks this weekly open. So I'll probably sell the rest of my trade if we do get that breakdown and look to buy slightly lower. But again, no evidence of that yet, and we're just riding the wave. We're riding the wave right now. If we do come back down and like sort of touch this support, I'll be a relonger again. Popcat also doing really well. Just actually had a pop to 0.412. Yeah, this is definitely going to be some resistance up here, about 0.146 up to 0.2. And yeah, again, it still hasn't broken down yet though. And yeah, I'm holding those positions, and potentially any pullback is an area to long. So if we do get back down into like the weekly open in June, you can potentially go to the hourly because we made a new high and just pull a really local fib, probably take it from all the way at this low here, and the 786 comes in around June here. So you got kind of the weekly daily open and June to potentially long, and then yeah, if you see a lower high now off this, I would de-risk that trade. Potentially, yeah, you could get a retrace, but then you can get positioned on both sides. But it looks good. Everything's looking good. We are obviously bear diving, bang, bang, the usual. But yeah, all's going well. So if anyone wants me to look at anything in particular, feel free to slap those in the chat. If not, I'll probably just cycle through every single alt and we'll maybe just go from like the daily, the 4 hour, and then go into like the 15 minutes or the 1 hour and potentially see if there's any value for us. But yeah, it's looking really good. Hyper, please. Injective and Soul, please. Yes, yes, sir. So Hyper, that was something that was just pumping crazy, wasn't it, last week? Yeah, Jesus Christ. So, bro, there's not actually that much TA that can be done on this. Is there a... Is it Hyperchain X or Hyperlane? Because I want to get the most data as possible. Yeah, I think that Binance charge is fine. This is new coin. There's not actually that much. I mean, this just came out in April. there's not really that much you can really say about this. Like, it's very difficult to do TA on things that, one, are very new, and two, have just had an extremely violent pump like this. You can obviously identify potential areas like this swing as potential areas for support if it comes back down in here. But yeah, I think it's probably going to come back and touch, I'd assume, 30 cent, and then farm out some like bigger structure. Maybe we'll get a lower high, or maybe like you'll just pennant out between there and get another move. It's just extremely difficult to do any sort of TA on this, but I would say if you're looking to load up on this, you're probably looking in here to potentially do that, and then I think it will maybe like do something like that if we're going to get the alt run, and then just dilly dally here for a little bit, and then potentially get a pop. But it's extremely early to say that. We've literally just had the pump, and it's just obviously people are just selling off some of their profits at the moment. So yeah, have a look at 7 to 30 cents, and then potentially you could make a play on that. Injective and Soul, yes, yes. So let's get a fresh chart out. Injective, whoops, Injective USD. This is not a fresh chart, but I can delete that. So Injective is it's looking potentially interesting. We do have some resistance up here. This is going to act as resistance when we do come up, and we've also got the March level in this swing here, which I don't think is going to be as of a big deal as when we potentially get up a little bit higher. For now, we've gained the June level, which is potentially untested, and we do have some room to run on the daily time frame, so potentially looking quite good. I think if this were, yeah, I mean, this looks like it actually wants to squeeze a little bit higher, to be honest, especially if we can hold the weekly in between the weekly and June. Do you have two touches on the combination band? So it's firing a couple warning shots. If you get something like a break below and then a retest, you could short this down to here. But I feel like the short button should be banned almost at this stage. You're potentially just looking to long this level for higher, actually, with a stop below the low. To be honest, in terms of the higher time frame, I'm looking for this to at least come and test like 16. $16 in the near term, and on the short term we are potentially arcing up into something, especially if we can hold this. And we'll get a pop, maybe. It's just long season. Like, if you can long something, I mean, that's quite a big stop, to be fair, and have a decent risk, you should probably just try. Not financial advice, of course. But yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Potentially, obviously, you can do a pullback, but yeah, it also has room to run. Solana, Sol USD. Has less room to run than Injective, just because it's quite high on the oscillator and the retail stablecoin demand. We're getting up to resistance as well in between the August and November level. Let me just check the weekly chart on this. Yeah, we've got a decent amount of support there. The weekly swing comes in around 176, so obviously the weekly has room to run, which is nice. The 4-hour potentially just made a new high actually. So yeah, this actually might make for a decent short-term long in here actually from this most recent low, because if you can get this to hold the weekly open, which is probably going to come around somewhere in here, right? AI charting tools, please. Being a bit slow this morning. I don't know why it's not loading. Is the stream okay? There we go. That took a fucking while, didn't it? Yeah, the daily weekly open comes in literally in there. So, yeah, that's potentially actually a decent little long there to take it higher. And the stop is probably going to be, yeah, a nice little tight stop. Maybe like 1%. I like that. It's low risk. You got a few things potentially lining up there. You got a combination band right at the bottom of the hourly swing candle that you just did. You got a new high that you've just set. It looks like it's finding resistance on this November level and a couple wicks into the 1 hourly band. Not bad. I actually quite like that as potentially a little scalp, even if it just comes up to here and does a lower high and potentially like fails, you're still going to be able to de-risk something on a 4-to-1 risk to ratio. So that's not bad. Not bad at all, mate. But yeah, it seems like we're getting to a potential area where the market might go maybe a little bit down, sideways, boring for a bit. So in terms of Sol, we've obviously got this. Why is it taking so long to load? We've obviously got this like daily high swing structure here. We got the daily combination bangs. We got the August and November levels. So potentially, like if we start seeing some wicks up here, and then everyone starts going, oh shit, actually crypto's pumping, let's buy some alts, and they buy here and stuff like that, and then we're overcooked, and then we start doing the deviation, and then it gets a little bit boring for a bit. We do a nice retest. It takes like a month or two, and then you know, it's potentially that could happen, but yeah, it's still looking good in the grand scheme of things for higher prices later this year. And something like on Sol, we could just potentially see invert in inverted commas an alt season that goes to 260, and then that's it. That's the bear market. I mean, that's the bull market. That's the alt season, and then we get like the bear market, which is potentially another like 50% pump from here, and then we go down and do like fucking I don't know 75% like in the next 2 years. Who knows? Or we could obviously break all-time highs, but I think that's definitely a daily Stuber short that I would be willing to take. But yeah, for now, it's looking good, and we're looking for higher. I just want you to keep that in mind. Especially, I'm going to start reminding people, especially if we start like obviously, I think we're going to do that and potentially put in a retest and do like one more up to here. And once we get up to like these levels, I'm gonna start going, okay, guys, potentially, because the frothiness is gonna be there once we get there, and it's gonna be like new all-time highs, biggest run ever, and it might even be like October, November, and it's just gonna be like, yeah, okay, we're all lining up for everything's just lining up for the bear market. But again, right now, let's just enjoy the fun times while we can, and hopefully we get the ETH rotation, so we can have some fun with some of those like micro caps that just do like a 10x in a month. I mean, that was last cycle. We probably won't get that again, but something similar to what Hyper did. You might just see some random pumps on some random coins. I hope Fartcoin is going to be one of them. Oh, I'm lagging a bit today, boys. Yeah, so this is also how you know that the market is in an extremely bullish phase right now. So I drew this fib, obviously from this high when we started like coming down, and then from this low. And yeah, the 618, we literally just barely touched the 618, and then we set a new high. And obviously we've been bear diving all the way up on this oscillator as well. We're probably going to bear div again. We're just in a extremely explosive up phase at the moment. Again, potentially you could just draw a new one now on the hourly from this high and this low, and that would be the local one. And then if you hold this low, you could potentially make a new high or get a decent little trade off there. But obviously we are kind of at resistance, so just be careful if you're taking some of those like more aggressive short-term lower time frame trades, that you're taking profit on the way up and you're actively de-risking your trades, so that if we do get a lower high and a bit of a pullback, just a pullback, it's not going to be like a big retrace or anything like that, you're covering yourself and you're not sinking loads of capital into a trade that's going to be like 20-30% down, and then But yeah, Sui's had a really explosive move. Let's have a look at Sui actually. Let's get a different chart as well. Why am I lagging so much today? Come on. Yeah, so Sui's nearly at its yearly open, which is very interesting because a lot of the yearly opens on, I mean, pretty much every altcoin is kind of like where we almost peaked after we had the low last year in August, and then we had a nice few months run up into the election and stuff, and then the December was very good for altcoins, and then we peaked just around the yearly open, and then we obviously had like 3-4 months of dumpiness this year at the start of this year. But yeah, very interesting to see that this is recovered very, very well. Um, and to be honest, I think I was talking about that Stuber. That hit over here is probably from like there to there. You can kind of just eyeball that the 786 and the 886 came in somewhere around there. But yeah, very nice. Again, we're coming up to some really big resistance points in between here and here, and I would expect definitely to see potentially a pullback. Look, if we just look at the daily as well, I think that potentially between, you know, 395 and 4.1 ish, you're gonna get some sort of, like, you could wick up and then deviate over and then get a full on retest, maybe even of June, or maybe even of the low, because you could pull a fib from like here to like there, wherever we stop. Like, anything would be bullish. There, anything would be bullish. But yeah, I am open to the idea of that as well. But again, yeah, it's just not something where you'd want to like buy a shit ton here. You want to kind of like load up here. But yeah, there's trades available for sure. I should probably sell some of my Sui trade. I've been in an underwater Sui trade for a little while. To be fair, it's extremely low leverage, but yeah. Anyone else? Anything in particular? Or Hype's also making new all-time highs, which is really nice. I know we're all on the Hype train. This thing, I absolutely love this thing. I'm not gonna lie, it's so good. It's the coin we all deserve. I genuinely feel like everyone deserves Hype in their life, and I'm not upset. Like I don't regret, but I did see Hype below $10. I looked at it when I was literally on this wick at $9, and I decided not to buy any because I was in a super underwater like 3x trade. I accumulated quite a lot over here, like quite a lot on 3x cross, like a decent amount in between like 17 and 15. And I was like, I'll just leave it for now. I'll just leave it for now. And then we kind of just did this, and I was like, oh okay, I'm in a super up trade, but I mean that's looking like a generational buy, isn't it? Like what's that right now? Yeah, 400%, pretty decent. Not too shabby. Something that's actually lagging behind massively is FET. So I haven't actually looked at their calendar or any news. So if anyone knows anything about potential catalysts, roadmaps, unlocks about FET, please share it with the group in the chat because this could be a sleeping giant. It could be a little sleeper as well because as soon as we get something like this, like we're right at resistance. All we need is a little pop there and a retest, and you're potentially looking at a really nice move to the yearly open. Well, obviously first to Feb, and then potentially all the way up to here. I'm not looking. I obviously own spot, but I'm also potentially looking at that for like a 3x cross trade as well. Um, yeah, I think that could yield quite a nice trade as well. Hasn't really moved that much at all. Tau was pumping this morning quite well, quite nicely. I think we talked about this last week, didn't we? I do own some spot of this. Um, no, no crypto cap chart for me. Yeah, again, I mean it's going to be quite similar on all these alts. We're coming up to heavy resistance. I would obviously be cautious about buying massive amounts of spot in here or potentially like longing high leverage. Again, if you go down to the hourly, there's potentially, like bounce trades you could get from a Stuba in between here and here, for something like that. And there's obviously things that you can do. Uh, I would not blindly short. Uh, if you see sort of like candles that are wicking above and then starting to like close below, potentially you could short to take it back down. But I'm just not too keen on shorts at the moment. In all honesty, I'm more looking at some of my bags, not my like micro caps because they're obviously down like massively, but some of the bags that maybe a little bit more down than I wanted to. I'm potentially like, so for example, I'll give you an example. Say you accumulated a lot of tau in between here and here, so in this area, thinking that the alt season was going to be, at the start of this year, like in January or February or some shit. Potentially, what you're looking to do is sort of like DCA in once we get some retests to just lower your entry price a little bit. So then when we do get the blast off, you're just going to be able to take profits nicely in profit. To be honest, Tao's not really a good example because we've already had a touch of this resistance zone, so you could have done it way earlier, literally on here, which you kind of missed, to be fair. But I think there's some other things that I could probably exemplify this a little bit better on. But yeah, in terms of what's render doing? Yeah, render's not looking too bad. Potentially going to be heavy resistance about 4.1. We're actually kind of at resistance right now, but yeah, again. Potential scalp that you can take up here, especially if this combination hand comes a little bit higher. I don't know. I'm not really that keen on that one, to be fair. Maybe this might get another little pop into here just to clear everything out and then a retrace. Akash and Fet, I'm hoping start firing up in spot. Yeah, I mean, I own like a shit ton of Fet spot. I think it's my highest altcoin holding actually. Uh, I famously fumbled Fet at 9 cents underneath 10 cent. It was the end of 2022, and I just got out of hospital for the same thing as Max. My appendix like ruptured. They actually ruptured it in the NHS. They fucking they were trying to find out what's wrong with me, and they were like pressing down on my stomach, and then they ruptured it, and then tried to give me codeine, and the codeine didn't work, so they wheeled me into the next fucking thing and gave me like the biggest syringe of morphine ever. But anyway, yeah, I just got out of hospital. It was around Christmas time, and yeah, I bought a bunch of. I didn't buy a bunch of Fet at 9 cents, but I did buy a bunch at like 25, and yeah, it obviously did like 10x. But yeah, I still do own quite a lot, so I'm potentially looking for an area to offload a nice amount. But Akash, AKT, in the building. Yeah, I think I did a little bit of TA on this last time. I just said I think I think there's going to be two. There's basically this. We're going to boil it down to this. I mean, obviously there's another level on this chart, but this is obviously the short term resistance that we need to get above to change. You know, to get a nice big breakout. But potentially on every single altcoin, the two main levels that you're going to want to watch are around the yearly open and December near the highs, which are probably, if we've set a new low on a lot of alts, is going to be the cap for them, unfortunately. Between the 786 and the 886, which is roughly around December. I think the same thing was on. What coin did I just look at? I can't even remember what I just looked at. It was Sol. It was Sol. Yeah, Sol. So potentially, yeah, I think just again, this area is where you kind of want to evacuate most of the market. But yeah, again, yearly open, area of interest as well. What's Tia doing? Yeah, this still is in fucking Goblin Town, isn't it, bro? That looks like it's gonna end up hitting some resistance here. To kind of change this structure, you need to do a higher low, like a macro one from this, and then break the bottom of this here and that June to change this. But right now, it's just looking really, really shit, actually. Really bad. It's almost like reminding me of Dot. What's actually happening with Dot? Because that was looking really fucked. Oh, yeah, this has actually regained its low at least. This is looking way better than Tia. This probably has some big boy buys down here around this Q3 at the start of July or like a week ago. Hmm. That's also regained that high as well and retested it. This is looking potentially interesting as well to keep going up. That little pop there. That's what you want to see hold in here. You might get like a wick or something, but then it could potentially just start steaming off. Steaming, mate. H bar. H bar is an interesting one, and the reason why is because it's an American company, I believe. So, I mean, right now into the speculation phase, but imagine like there was like no capital gains on American companies like American crypto or some shit. This would see the mother of all pumps. But anyway, I don't know if that's gonna happen. It's just a rumor anyway. Um, yeah, that's made a new. That's really good. This is good. Yearly open again, area of interest. Where's the December on this? This is definitely a different chart to most alts because this was riding the whole America crypto wave very, very early on. Yeah, so December's all the way down there. Interesting. Very, very interesting. I mean, this is obviously big support now. H bar, yeah, this looks really looks really interesting actually. I haven't quite seen an altcoin chart that looks like this yet this cycle. Mm, so yeah, what we do have is we have all of this retested, which was resistance here, which led us to the low. Sorry, I'm not going to speak like you're some child. Led us to the low. That's been retested. 1 second. Yeah. Okay, okay. Um, the top of that swing's potentially been retested, and this one hasn't been retested. So, yeah, if you get a breakdown of the daily, weekly, potentially in between March and this swing from back here from 12th, 13th ish, May 14th, around that area is potentially going to be an area of interest. Likewise, the yearly open, potentially an area of resistance. We're really, really high on this oscillator as well, so really, really high. That looks cool, man. Let me have a look at the weekly on this. Yo. Ridiculous weekly retest here. Super bullish. It's probably only the 618 on the oh no, it nearly did the 786, nearly. That's pretty cool, man. Are you in H bar? I actually remember something from all the way back. I think I was in college or sixth form, bro. I was like 18, maybe I was 19. Maybe it was a year after college. What fucking year was this? Someone that I made friends with in class was talking to me about H bar like years ago. He's a pretty like one of those like kind of nerdy guys. That's quite funny. He probably owns a shit ton. AVAX and Link, if you haven't looked at, I haven't. I will gladly oblige. So Avalanche. I'm not really sure what that line is there. I'm gonna just take it off because it doesn't look like it's anything important. Hmm. This I don't think this is as good as other things. It definitely doesn't look bad. Um, what I'll say is, in between here and here is going to be definitely resistance, like 100%. We're currently up against the daily combination band now. We have gained May and June. We have a nice little bit of area of support forming below us, potentially on the 4 hour, which will look nice. Probably got a demand zone. Obviously, again, we're in the oversold area of the oscillator. I think potentially this is going to stop in between 22.8 and 22.3, somewhere there, and see a pullback. And potentially your area is going to be somewhere, yeah, somewhere like 20, like here, just basically where I circled. Again, if you do the retest here, it's potentially an area to long up into here, but we are getting squeezingly close into like some big resistances. So yeah, potentially like, yeah, you got a new high. That's your low now. That's been retested. So yeah, you don't want to lose that. You basically want to hold the daily weekly now for more upside, and then if you start breaking this down, it's going to retrace to here and then in here. But again, I feel like everything's going to go up sooner or later. It's just how much are they going to go up? And if you invert this AVAX chart, this just potentially looks like really good support that we're forming. Actually, it's kind of going sideways, really tight actually. Hmm. Excuse me. Re-invert, please. Yeah, I do think this is going to climb up. I mean, potentially we're going to have a stop off here and then retrace and then come up into this proper zone, which has already been tested once. So the likelihood of this breaking now, when we come up and test it again, is going to be a lot higher. We could potentially just squeeze up and then see a pop into the yearly at some point. Again, I'm going to do the same thing that I've done on Sol and whatever was the other one, I can't remember, that made a new low. But I think, you know, around this December 786 is probably going to cap it off for me this cycle. I just don't think we have enough time, fundamentals, money. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that could happen with rate cuts and shit like that, but I just think this is going to be an area on a lot of things to just massively exit the market, at least like 80%. And then fine, like if we come back and we start doing some, you know, like there's always stuff that you can do, but you just don't want to be bag holding this shit once we get up to like December levels on this. But yeah, again, I definitely think, you know, you got this resistance here. If you break that, yearly open and then December, those are pretty much the playbook on everything for me. The standard playbook. Link, I like Link a lot. I think it's got some real world use case. Is it is it in the ETF or something? I think it's got, if it hasn't, I think it's got a good chance of getting an ETF as well. So at some point in the future, I think it's a decently safe coin to hold, especially if you're a long term investor. Like if you're looking at altcoins that are tried and tested apart from Bitcoin and ETH, potentially something like Link is a very good shout. I mean, a lot of people would say Sol, but and they would probably be right, but I think Link and Doge as a two like blue chip altcoins, they just kind of touch all the perfect bases for me. Obviously, apart from ETH and Bitcoin. But if you're putting together some sort of like long term, like 10 year crypto portfolio where you're going to heavily invest in DCAN over multiple years, then I think Link is a really good project. It's a really good coin. I like it a lot. In terms of, sorry, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked. In terms of what's happening right now, yeah, again, resistance. Daily combination band is potentially going to come a little bit higher, so it's got a little bit more room to run. Again, getting overcooked on the oscillator. This is coming up, and you do have some levels to retest. So you got May and June. March has been regained nicely down here as well, and then you've actually got Q2 and Q3 sitting on each other here, which will potentially be a daily super. I mean, wherever we stop, potentially the 786 is going to come in around Q2 and Q3. So in the shorter term, yeah, you got a hidden bull here on the March level, which we did retest. You got the daily weekly open that's just opened. Sorry, just printed. Potentially, you're just still looking to long retests and higher lows on this actually, and yeah, this daily weekly open hasn't been tested, and this low needs to hold here. Not bad though. Not bad at all, mate. This is bear diving though on all of these. Let's have a look at that 3-day. Yeah. Why does this not have? Oh, the December level comes in exactly around the yearly open. So this is obviously going to be an area of interest, and then again up around here, February. But this actually looks better. This looks better than some other alts that have made new lows because, I mean, we obviously went below the A86, but we didn't actually make a new low. So, yeah, I like it. I like Link. Link's cool. Link's pretty cool, man. I'm on long from 13. Oh, you're in a short-term position. Let's have a look. Long from 13. Oh, nice. Really nice stuff, bro. So, yeah, you're long from about down here. Probably somewhere on the regain or maybe on the retest down there. You probably took a bit of profit here. You probably took a bit of profit there. You're probably looking at another TP up here. And then potentially if you get into this big resistance zone between 17.6 and 16.8 is a couple more TPs. But yeah, that's looking good. It's obviously still in an uptrend as well, so you want to just keep your position, just take profits at certain areas. I don't know about you, but when you start off trading, you spend so much time on entries. You spend a whole I don't know how long you guys been trading for, but at the start you spend so long getting into the entries, but actually like taking profit, the art of taking profit and the art of like leaving some trades to run and taking just enough off that you're making good profit, but you also have enough on the trade where if it runs you're still looking good, is actually quite hard as well, because I was in very, very good profit around Friday, Saturday, like very good profit. And I obviously took like 40% off on quite a lot of my trades. And I was super tempted to just close everything and be like, well, close 80% of everything and just be like, you know what, that's a really fucking good week. But then I was like, actually, like, what am I doing? Like, everything's just looking good. Like, why don't I just leave it and I'll wake up on like Monday and just see what happens, and we just pumped again. And I just take another 20% off the position now, and pretty much have the same, not same amount, the same unrealized, you know? Like, for example, like with Fartcoin and PopCap. The art of taking profit is a difficult one, but yeah. If you don't have like set levels before you enter the trade, you can sometimes make really bad mistakes that can cost you quite a lot of money. Unless you're like a super experienced trader and you just like you know exactly what you're doing. But yeah. But anyway, I think tomorrow what we should do is we should maybe have a little like shitcoin session. Not maybe not shitcoin, but like maybe some micro caps because it's very likely that this is going to be the last impulse for Bitcoin, and then we're going to get the ETH rotation, and then we'll get like 1 or 2 months of like some really micro caps and might do like a 10x, like something might do a 10x, you know. Um, and you could just put like a couple $100 in it from like your trading profit in it into like a few things. Um, but if you don't get in, for example, on the next pullback, it's just going to be too late. So maybe we'll have a look into some of these. I don't know, like maybe I'm not saying Trio is a shitcoin, but it's definitely a micro cap. Maybe we'll look into buying some more of this or SMT. That's up at resistance. See, do you know what this needs to do? This needs to do a higher low and then break, and then we can buy some here and start targeting like stuff like that. And that's gonna be like, even then, that's not even that much, is it? To be honest. Hmm. Something with deep. It's not that deep, bro. But yeah, I think if no one's got anything else for me to look at, we might leave it there. Just so we have some stuff to talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be more, probably a better day for setups because we're going to let America open tonight and the dust settles a little bit for the week ahead. And Tuesday, I always say Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, literally the best for trading. Don't don't fade Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, especially Tuesday into Wednesday, because it's the best time to trade. So yeah, maybe we'll just leave it here for today. I have been going for a while now, haven't I? 58 minutes, pretty much perfect. So I'm gonna